Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'll be unboxing, testing and reviewing this cordless 40 volt angle grinder which I picked up a while back now from Aldi supermarket here in the UK. Right, so here is the Ferrex 40 volt cordless angle grinder, and this is model FAW 40Q. I think that might be a slightly updated version of the previous one. They look very similar, but I'll go through that in a moment. No battery or charger. So for grinding and cutting materials, stone and other materials. Spindle lock for comfortable disc change. So it has a button on it that you can press to lock the spindle so that you can undo the nut that holds the disc on and replace it. Disc covers adjustable without tools. So it has an adjustable cover which moves around on a bearing type system, which is quite a nice feature actually for an angle grinder of this price. Disc cover for cut-off discs and for grinding discs. Quick release nut for tool-free disc change. So I think this is one of the upgrades that Ferrex have done here. Instead of having a little spanner and an M14 nut to undo when you change your grinding disc, instead you've got a quick release nut. So I'll show you that in a moment when I open the box. And it has a handle which can be attached top, left and right. The RPM of this is 85,000, so it's not variable. That is the speed. If we take a look at the back of the box, it's for 125mm discs, and this angle grinder works with the active energy battery system. It works with the 40 volt battery, so it's a 40 volt tool, so it won't work with the 20 volt battery. So let's get inside the box. Okay, so here is the contents of the box. You get the user manual as standard with the 3-year warranty, which I think is excellent for a tool of this price. I paid £19.99 for this in store. You get the grinder itself. You get a plastic underguard which slides onto the main guard, which can protect you from sparks and debris, things like that. And you also get the handle that screws into the left, right or the top. And you can see in there's a space to push the little spanner in there, which you would normally use to undo the M14 nut, but this version has a quick release nut, so there's no spanner included. Okay, now so to add a disc to this grinder, I've also bought various cutting discs and flap discs that I intend on using with this grinder. So just to show you, I want to add this flap disc. So with the M14 quick release nut, it just has this metal lever that pulls up. Then you can push on the spindle lock and it will tighten up and unscrew without the need for a spanner. That is a nice neat invention, I love that. If you've misplaced your spanner, doesn't matter because you've got this. So then we can add the disc and then tighten up the M14 quick release nut. Once it's tight, push that back down and that is now on. So if you're using this with a cutting disc and you want to avoid sparks, you can use the underguard, and we just need to slide that into position like so. And then we can angle how we want that to go. If you're cutting sort of like that, or if you're cutting this way, you know, or maybe you're cutting like that. But for a flap disc, I don't think this is required. This is just when you're cutting metal or stone. So we can add the provided handle, we can add it to the top, like so. If we're grinding this way. We can add it to the right side, like so. I might just add a little bit of lubricant on these threads. Okay, we've got the handle here. Say we want to cut down this way, we can have it like so. And it also screws on the left side too. There you are. And this can easily be adjusted. Okay, now I can add a 40-volt battery into the grinder. As I say, this will only work with the 40-volt battery, it won't work with the slimmer 20-volt battery. Interestingly, I've seen reviews on the cheaper grinder, the brushed version grinder that Ferrex do in the past, and when they try to stand it up, it doesn't stand up, and I'm surprised that this one does. So I think the weight has been redistributed a little bit on this one, as you can see, and that actually stands up on its own. So that is really surprising, and I'm glad about that. That stands up nicely on its own, and it doesn't feel like it's going to fall either. So in the hand, it feels okay. It's a bit heavy because of the big battery, but you've got a good amount of power then, so that's good. It's got a grip. The previous one didn't have grip all the way. I think the bottom was quite smooth on the previous one. This one has grip all the way around. Spindle lock button there, feels fine. This top part, die cast, not sure what it is, some kind of metal. The guard, I like that, it's nice and smooth to adjust. The handle, yep, not a problem there. When you're holding it with the handle like this, say, or if you're cutting this way, you know, the weight really isn't an issue. Feels quite nice in the hand. So the on button here, it pushes up and it kind of hooks up and stays on, so you don't have to keep continually pressing on that button. So let's just turn it on for the first time. Okay, so it's not too loud at all. There was no hard start, it didn't kick back. Feels nice and smooth. The switch feels good. It locks on no problem. All good so far. First impressions are very good. So now I just need to give it a test. So now starting off with the test, I've got a full 40-volt battery there. I'm going to start off with a 40 grit flap disc, and I've got some rough wood here, just demonstrating how you can remove that rough surface quite easily. Now moving on to a metal cutting disc, a thin disc. I'm going to cut a bit of steel, and it went through this with ease. Now I'm going to cut a 10mm thick threaded rod, and again no problem at all. Now I'm using a grinding wheel. I'm just going to grind a bit of metal just to show how it can clean up the surface of metal. Okay, so that is about it for this video. So my first impressions on this grinder, it's fairly lightweight for a cordless grinder, I think, bearing in mind this is a budget grinder. It's very low priced in my opinion. It fits in my hand okay. If it was a little bit slimmer, that'd be even better, but I suppose you can buy more expensive grinders for that. It's a 40 volt version, so unfortunately you can only use it with this big chunky battery. You can't put it with the 20 volt battery. Apart from that, I think it's good. The gearbox has got a bit of a rattly sound, but I've looked at other videos and they all seem to have that. It just seems to be a characteristic of these grinders. They've got a bit of a rough sounding gearbox, but it doesn't seem to affect the performance. I think it performs fairly well when you first use it. I think it's quite surprising how much power it's actually got, and for a DIYer such as myself, for general use, I think it's a perfect tool to do bits and bobs of DIY, cutting through bolts, a bit of grinding, a bit of sanding, that sort of thing. And I've also used this cutting bricks as well, and it works with that too. And this quick release bolt here, the M14 bolt that it came with, I found very useful. It's faster to change a disc. You haven't got to get the spanner out and do it that way. You can lift up this flap and hold on this back button and change a disc relatively easily. So that's a nice addition as well. So with all that said, I think it's a decent tool. If you did find this video useful, please remember to like and also consider subscribing for more DIY related videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.